The Last Human Voice, a TomorrowLore story. Imagine waking up one morning and everyone around you has gone silent, not because they don't want to speak, but because they no longer need words. This is the story of David Torres, the last person on Earth who still uses his tongue to communicate, and perhaps the last person who's still human. But before we begin, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me where you're listening from. New York, Tokyo, somewhere I've never heard of? And here's what I'm really curious about. Are you tucked in bed right now, using this to fall asleep? Or wide awake, diving into the what-ifs of tomorrow? If this story speaks to you, hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow and tells me you want more like this. All right, let's begin. Part 1, The Morning of Silence. David Torres, a 47-year-old data analyst from Portland, woke up at exactly 7:15 in the morning, like he had every day for the past 23 years. He turned off his alarm, mechanical with physical buttons because he didn't trust all that smart nonsense, and stretched with the characteristic groan of a man who knew his day would be identical to yesterday. All right, I'm up. Words spoken to no one. Just habit. A habit that was about to become very, very strange. He went downstairs where his wife Sarah sat at the table, drinking coffee and staring through the kitchen window with an expression that seemed distant. Peaceful, but distant. "Morning," David said, scratching his belly through his old Blazers t-shirt. Sarah didn't respond. She just looked at him and smiled. A warm smile. Genuine. But she said nothing. Marcus frowned. "You okay? Still mad about the thing with the garbage disposal?" That smile again. Knowing, affectionate, but no words. "Sarah, hello?" He waved his hand in front of her face. She blinked, raised her coffee mug slightly as if to say cheers, and went back to staring out the window. "Okay, weirdo, I'll just make my own coffee then." This was strange, but not alarming. Sarah had her moods. Silent mornings. Everyone did. He'd learned in couples therapy, the expensive kind, that sometimes people need space, so he gave her space. He made his coffee. Black. 2 sugars. The same way he'd made it since college. The coffee maker gurgled and hissed, and David checked his phone. 47 notifications. That was unusual. He was more of a check-it-twice-a-day kind of guy. He opened his messages, all from his friend group chat. Portland Data Nerds. Creative name, he'd suggested it. The messages were odd. From Kevin, anyone else? From Priya, yes, since last night. From Deshaun, can't believe it finally happened. From Kevin again, peaceful though. David typed, can't believe what happened, you guys speaking in code again? He waited. 3 dots appeared under Priya's name, then disappeared. Then appeared again. Then disappeared. Nothing. Come on, Priya, just type it, but no message came. David shrugged, drank his coffee, and decided today was already weird enough to warrant a shower before checking work emails. Small rebellions. That's how you stay sane. In the shower, hot water running down his back, David hummed. He always hummed in the shower. Today it was that song from the commercial, the one about yogurt. Annoying, but catchy. As he hummed, he realized something. The house was completely silent. No Sarah moving around downstairs, no coffee maker beeping, no neighbors mowing lawns or starting cars. Portland was a noisy city. People loved their leaf blowers here, loved them with a passion that Marcus found almost erotic in its intensity. But now, nothing. He turned off the water, listened. Silence, not even birds. That's weird. He dried off, got dressed, jeans and a button-up because he had a video call at 9 and went back downstairs. Sarah was still at the table, same position, same smile, but now she was looking at her phone, scrolling with a serene expression that reminded Marcus of those pictures of Buddhist monks. "Sarah, seriously, what's going on?" She looked up, made eye contact, pointed at her phone, then at her head, then gave him a thumbs up. "What does that? What are you miming? Are we playing charades? Is this a stroke? Are you having a stroke?" Sarah laughed, actually laughed, but no sound came out. Her shoulders shook. Her face crinkled with genuine amusement, but it was completely silent. And that's when David felt the first cold thread of fear wrap around his spine. "Sarah, say something. Anything." She stood up, walked over to him, and placed both hands on his cheeks. She looked into his eyes with so much love, so much tenderness, that David felt his throat tighten. Then she tapped her temple twice, smiled, and walked past him toward the living room. David stood in the kitchen holding his coffee mug, feeling like he'd woken up in a different dimension. He pulled out his phone and called Kevin. It rang, and rang, and rang. Then went to voicemail. "Hey, this is Kevin. Leave a message." "Kevin, dude, what the hell is happening? Why isn't Sarah talking? Why aren't you talking? Call me back, seriously." He tried Priya, same thing. Voicemail, he tried Deshaun, voicemail, he tried his mom, his sister, his boss. Every single call went to voicemail. David sat down at the kitchen table and opened Reddit, because if something weird was happening, Reddit would know. Reddit always knew. The front page was chaos, but organized chaos. Top post, 60,000 upvotes, posted 2 hours ago, day 1, the linguistic transition megathread. David clicked. The post read, as of approximately 11:47 p.m. PST last night, an estimated 89% of the global population has transitioned to Neurospeak. This thread is for those who have completed transition to share experiences and for those who haven't to ask questions. Please be patient with the speakers. They're adjusting. David scrolled through the comments. Thousands of them, but they were all very, very short. Beautiful. Finally. Peace. Clarity. Words were chains. One comment, buried deeper, caught his eye. "I'm still speaking. Is anyone else still speaking? I feel like I'm the only one." 47 replies, all saying the same thing. "You'll transition soon. Don't worry." David typed furiously, "What the hell is Neurospeak? Why is no one explaining?" He posted it. Waited. 3 replies came within seconds. "Check the official Synapse Hub. Download the transition app." "Why are you yelling?" David screamed. Actually screamed because no one is talking. Sarah appeared in the doorway. She looked concerned. She walked over and showed him her phone. On the screen was an app icon. Simple, elegant, a brain made of light. The app was called Synapse. Underneath, the tagline read, "Speak without words, think without limits." David stared at it. "You want me to download this?" Sarah nodded enthusiastically. She was positively glowing with excitement. "And if I download it, I'll be able to, what? Read your thoughts?" She nodded again. "And I'll stop talking?" She tilted her head, made a kind of gesture with her hand. "Sarah, I don't want to stop talking. I like talking. Talking it's what makes us human." Sarah's expression changed, not angry, just sad, pitying. Like she was watching a child refuse to let go of a broken toy. She typed something on her phone and showed it to him. The message read, "You're not losing humanity, you're gaining it. Trust me, I love you." David felt tears prick his eyes. "Then say it. Say you love me." Sarah opened her mouth. David leaned forward, but nothing came out. She tried. He could see her trying. Her lips moved, her throat worked, but no sound emerged. It was like watching someone try to scream underwater. Finally, she stopped, looked frustrated, then defeated. She typed again, "I can't anymore. It's gone." David stood up so fast his chair fell over. "I'm going outside. I need to see if anyone is still talking." He grabbed his jacket and walked out the front door. Part 2. The Speaking Dead. The street was full of people. That was the first surprise. Usually at 8 in the morning, Portland's residential streets were empty except for the occasional jogger or dog walker. But today, dozens of people stood in yards, on sidewalks, in the middle of the street, all of them smiling, all of them silent. They weren't looking at each other. They were looking at nothing. Or, Marcus realized with a chill, at everything. Their eyes moved constantly, taking in the world with an expression of wonder that seemed almost religious. "Hello?" David called out. "Can anyone hear me?" Everyone turned to look at him, simultaneously, like a flock of birds changing direction. They smiled, all of them, the exact same smile. Okay, that's super creepy, folks. Can someone please explain what's happening? His neighbor, Bill, a retired postal worker who loved to complain about property taxes, walked over. Bill was smiling too, that same peaceful, unsettling smile. Bill reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. He typed something and showed it to David. Good morning, David. Beautiful day, isn't it? Have you transitioned yet? David read it and felt his stomach drop. Bill, you've known me for 12 years. We've had actual conversations. Remember when we fixed my fence together? Remember when you told me about your daughter's wedding? You talked to me. Bill nodded. Typed again. I remember. Those were good times. But this is better. How is this better? You're not even speaking. Bill's expression changed. He looked thoughtful. Then he typed slowly, deliberately. Speaking was limitation. Every word filtered through language, through culture, through misunderstanding. Now I can share exactly what I think, what I feel, directly. No translation, no loss, just pure meaning. David grabbed Bill's shoulders. But I can't hear it. I can't hear what you're thinking. Bill patted Marcus's hand. Gently, kindly. Then typed, then join us. I don't want to join you. More neighbors were gathering now, all of them smiling, all of them silent. Someone, David didn't see who, handed him a phone. On the screen was the Synapse app download page. Install Synapse and unlock the next evolution of human communication. Join 6.2 billion connected minds. Free, secure, instantaneous. David threw the phone on the ground. It clattered on the asphalt but didn't break. Modern phones. Indestructible. I'm not downloading anything. I want you people to talk to me. The crowd didn't react with anger. They just looked, sad, understanding. Like parents watching a toddler throw a tantrum. David ran. He didn't know where he was going. He just ran. Down the street. Past the coffee shop where everyone inside sat in perfect silence, sipping lattes and smiling at each other. Past the elementary school where children played without shouting, without laughing, moving through playground games with choreographed precision. He ran until his lungs burned, until he reached downtown. Surely downtown would be different. Downtown was always loud. Cars honking, street musicians, protesters with megaphones. But downtown Portland was silent. Traffic moved smoothly. No honking, no road rage. Cars flowed like water, like every driver knew exactly what every other driver was thinking. Because David realized they did. He stumbled into a 7-Eleven. The clerk, a young woman with purple hair and a name tag that said Jade, looked up from her phone and smiled. Please, David gasped, please tell me you can still talk. Jade's smile faltered. She looked genuinely sorry. She typed on her phone, I'm sorry, I transitioned last night, but I can help you. Do you want to download Synapse? I can walk you through it. David laughed. It sounded manic even to his own ears. Everyone keeps saying that. Download Synapse. Join us. Like you're all in a cult. Jade typed, it's not a cult, it's evolution. It's insane is what it is. Jade looked uncomfortable. She typed quickly, you seem distressed. Would you like me to call someone? A counselor? The transition support hotline? The transition support hotline? There's a hotline. She nodded, showed him her phone. There was indeed a hotline. 1-800-SYN-HELP. Trained operators standing by to help you through your transition. David slumped against the counter. What if I don't want to transition? Jade's expression softened. She typed slowly, then you don't have to. It's voluntary. No one's forcing you. But David, can I be honest? You look really lonely right now. That hit him. Hard. Because she was right. He was lonely. Desperately, crushingly lonely. Surrounded by billions of people who couldn't or wouldn't speak to him. How did this happen? He asked quietly. How did everyone decide to stop talking? Jade sat down on her stool behind the counter and typed out a longer message. It wasn't a decision. Synapse was released 3 months ago as a thought-to-text app. For people with speech disabilities, it worked by reading neural patterns. But then someone discovered you could link two people's apps, direct brain-to-brain communication. It went viral, Everyone wanted to try it. And once you try it, David, once you experience that connection, words feel broken, slow, inadequate. Most people kept speaking for a while, using both. But last night there was an update. Synapse 2.0, full neural integration, and something happened, something beautiful. We all felt it at the same time. This wave of understanding, of unity, and speaking just stopped. We didn't need it anymore. David felt cold. So everyone on Earth just decided to stop using language? Jade shrugged. Typed, not everyone. 89% so far. Some people are resisting. Religious groups, linguists, people like you. But most of them will transition in the next few days. The pull is too strong. The connection is too beautiful. What about people without phones? Kids? Elderly people? The app is free, compatible with any device, even old ones. And once you're connected, you can share the connection with others just by touching them. It's spreading exponentially. David backed away from the counter. You're telling me this thing spreads by touch? Jade stood up quickly, held up her hands, typed with one thumb, only if both people consent. I wouldn't do that to you. I promise. But David was already out the door. Part 3, the resistance. David spent the next 3 hours driving around Portland, desperately searching for someone, anyone who was still speaking. He found 6. 6 people in a city of over 600,000. They met in a parking lot behind a defunct Blockbuster Video. Because of course, they did. The last speakers meeting behind the last video store. There was David, a woman in her 60s named Dorothy, a teenage boy named Tyler, who kept saying, "This is like a zombie movie." A middle-aged man in a business suit who introduced himself only as Robert, a young woman covered in tattoos named Axe, which she insisted was spelled with an X, and an elderly man who didn't give his name but brought folding chairs and a thermos of coffee. They sat in a circle like the world's saddest support group. Dorothy spoke first. Her voice shook. My grandchildren came to visit this morning. All 4 of them. They couldn't talk to me. They tried to make me download that app. I said no. I raised them with words, with stories, with songs, and they just looked at me like I was a dinosaur. Tyler bounced his leg nervously. My whole school is silent, the teachers, everyone. They're still having classes, but it's all telepathic or whatever. I walked through the halls at lunch and it was like a library. Actually worse than a library, because at least in a library people whisper. This was nothing. Robert cleared his throat. I'm a lawyer. My entire profession is based on language. Precise language. How am I supposed to argue a case when no one speaks? I went to the courthouse today. The judge was there, the bailiff, other lawyers, all of them connected to Synapse. They tried to tell me I could just think my arguments at them, that it would be more efficient, more truthful. Axe laughed bitterly. More truthful. Yeah, because nobody ever lies with their thoughts, right? The elderly man poured coffee into paper cups and handed them out. I'm 93 years old, he said quietly. I lived through the internet, through smartphones, through social media. I watched humanity change, adapt. I always adapted too. But this is different. This is erasure, the erasure of voice. They sat in silence for a moment, real silence. The silence of people who still had words but didn't know which ones to use. Finally, David spoke. So what do we do? Do? Robert looked confused. What can we do? It's voluntary, legal. There's no law against thought sharing, but there should be a law against cultural genocide. David stood up, pacing. That's what this is. The death of language, of literature, of music with lyrics, of talking. Dorothy shook her head. You can't legislate against evolution, dear. This isn't evolution. Evolution takes millions of years. This is its technological hijacking of the human brain. Axe held up her phone. I've been reading about it. Synapse was developed by Neuralink Industries, Elon Musk's company. It started as medical tech, brain implants for paralysis patients, but then they went wireless, made it accessible, made it free, and now? She scrolled through her phone. Now they're the most valuable company in human history. Their stock went up 4,000% in 3 months. Tyler frowned. Wait, so someone's making money off this? Someone's always making money, Robert muttered. David grabbed his own phone, opened the Synapse app page, read the fine print, the terms of service, the privacy policy, and there it was, buried in section 47, subsection C. By using Synapse, you grant Neuralink Industries perpetual, irrevocable access to your neural patterns for purposes of improving user experience, targeted advertising, and data analysis. He looked up. They're reading everyone's thoughts and selling the data. The group stared at him. That can't be legal, Dorothy whispered. It's in the terms of service, which means legally every person who downloaded the app agreed to it. Axe stood up. We need to tell people. We need to warn them. How? Marcus gestured at the empty parking lot. Who's going to listen to us? Everyone's too busy having telepathic conversations to pay attention to the dinosaurs still using their mouths. The elderly man stood up slowly. Then we don't convince them, we preserve. Everyone turned to look at him. Preserve? Robert asked. Yes. We preserve language. We record it, write it down, make archives, for when this, whatever this is, ends, or for whoever comes after. We become librarians of the voice. David felt something stir in his chest. Hope. Small. Fragile. But there. Okay, he said. Okay. How do we start? Tyler pulled out his phone. I can set up a website, a database. We get people to upload recordings of themselves talking, reading, singing, whatever. We preserve as much spoken language as we can before it's completely gone. I can reach out to other resistors, Axe said. There are groups, small ones, online. We're organizing, Robert nodded. I'll handle the legal framework. Make sure we're protected. This resistance needs to be airtight. Dorothy smiled. And I'll cook. Every resistance needs food. They all looked at the elderly man. He chuckled. I'll die soon. But before I do, I'll make sure my voice is in that archive. My stories. My wife's recipes, narrated, my father's jokes. I'll make sure something remains. They shook hands, all of them. A physical gesture. A human gesture. And for the first time since that morning, David didn't feel alone. Part 4. The Last Broadcast. 3 weeks later, David sat in his home office, which had been transformed into a makeshift recording studio. Blankets hung on the walls for soundproofing. A USB microphone sat on his desk. His computer screen showed the website Tyler had built, the Human Voice Archive. It had 10,000 recordings so far. People reading poetry, telling stories, singing songs. Old people recording their memories. Parents reading bedtime stories. Teachers giving lectures. Comedians telling jokes. The last sounds of human speech, preserved forever. David clicked record on his own microphone. This is entry 10,001. My name is David Torres. I'm 47 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon, and I'm one of the last people on Earth who still speaks out loud. He paused, took a breath. I want to talk about my wife, Sarah. She transitioned 3 weeks ago. She's happy. I can see it. She's more peaceful than I've ever seen her. She spends hours every day connected to Synapse, sharing thoughts with millions of other people. She says, or rather, she types to me, that it's beautiful, that it's like being part of a vast ocean of consciousness, that she's never felt less alone. His voice cracked. He cleared his throat. But I've never felt more alone. I live with someone I love, and I can't have a conversation with her. Not a real one. She types to me, shows me memes, smiles, touches my hand, but I miss her voice. God, I miss her voice so much. He wiped his eyes. The Synapse people say I can join anytime, that it's easy, that it's beautiful, that I'm missing out on the greatest advancement in human history. And maybe they're right. Maybe I am a dinosaur. Maybe clinging to speech is like clinging to, I don't know, stone tablets when everyone else is using smartphones. He laughed weakly. But here's the thing. Words matter. The ACT of speaking matters. When you speak, you have to commit. You have to turn your thoughts into sounds, into sequential meaning. You can't share everything at once. You have to choose. You have to edit. You have to translate the chaos in your head into something another person can understand. And that process, that difficult, frustrating, beautiful process, that's what makes us human. He leaned back in his chair. Synapse users say thought sharing is more honest, more pure. But I don't want pure thoughts. Thoughts are messy, contradictory, sometimes cruel, sometimes insane. The filter of language isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's what separates the inside of our heads from what we put out into the world. He was getting worked up now. He could hear it in his voice. And what about lies? What about secrets? What about privacy? Everyone connected to Synapse swears you can shield your thoughts, that you only share what you want to share. But I've read the research. I've talked to neuroscientists. The human brain isn't built to multitask like that. You can't think about what you want to share while simultaneously suppressing what you don't. It's like trying not to think about a pink elephant. The harder you try, the more you think about it. He took a sip of cold coffee. So that's what we're trading. The richness of language, of literature, of mystery, for the illusion of perfect understanding. And in 100 years or 1,000 years, when someone finds this archive and asks, what was it like when humans still spoke? I want them to know. It was frustrating. It was inefficient. Arguments happened because of misunderstandings. Poetry was beautiful because it was ambiguous. Songs made you cry because the lyrics meant something different to everyone who heard them. He smiled, sad but genuine. So if you're listening to this, if you're one of the silent ones, or if you're someone far in the future who doesn't even know what speaking was, I want you to understand, we weren't primitive. We weren't limited. We were human. And humanity was never about perfect communication. It was about the struggle to connect despite our imperfection. It was about reaching across the gap between minds and saying, I see you, I hear you, even if I don't fully understand you. He reached forward to stop the recording, then paused. One more thing. Sarah, if you ever find this, if somehow Synapse fails, if the network goes down, if humanity returns to speech, I want you to know I love you, I forgive you, and I'll be here, still talking, still waiting, for the day I can hear your voice again. He clicked stop, uploaded the file, and sat in the silence of his empty house. 20 years later, the year is 2107. David Torres is 67 years old. He still speaks out loud, every day, to himself, mostly, sometimes to the few dozen other speakers left on Earth. The Human Voice Archive has 47 million recordings now. It's the largest collection of spoken language in human history. Museums display it, historians study it, Synapse users visit it like a zoo exhibit. Look, that's how they used to communicate. Primitive, but charming. Sarah is still connected, still happy, still silent. They're still married. Somehow. She types to him. He speaks to her. It's not perfect, but they've found a rhythm. And every night before bed, David records a new entry for the archive. Sometimes it's a story. Sometimes it's a memory. Sometimes it's just him describing his day. Because someone has to remember, someone has to preserve the sound of human voices, even if he's the last one. Tonight, David sits at his desk, gray hair, reading glasses, the same USB microphone from 20 years ago, still working. He clicks record. This is entry 7305. My name is David Torres. I'm 67 years old, and I'm still speaking. He smiles. Today, something interesting happened. I was at the grocery store. Self-checkout, of course. All the employees are telepathic now, but there was a kid there. Couldn't have been more than 5 years old, and she was humming. Just humming to herself while her mom shopped. His voice catches, and I realized she doesn't know. She doesn't know that humming is rare now. She doesn't know that making sound with your mouth is an act of rebellion. To her, it's just natural, joyful, human. He laughs, a real laugh. So maybe I'm not the last one after all. Maybe there's a generation coming that will rediscover their voices. Maybe they'll find this archive and think, hey, that looks fun. Let's try it. He leans closer to the microphone. And if you're that kid, if you're listening to this 20, 50, 100 years from now, I want you to know something. Your voice is beautiful. Not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. Because every time you speak, you're doing something brave. You're taking the chaos inside your head and turning it into music, into meaning, into connection. He pauses, so use it. Speak, sing, shout, whisper, tell jokes, read poetry, have arguments, mispronounce words, stutter, ramble, make no sense at all. His eyes are wet now. Just don't let them tell you that silence is evolution. Silence is comfortable. Silence is easy. But speech is human, and humanity is worth fighting for. He reaches for the stop button, then hesitates. One last thing. To whoever's listening, thank you. Thank you for using your ears, for taking the time to hear these words instead of just downloading them directly into your brain. Thank you for keeping the old way alive. He smiles. This is David Torres, still speaking, still human, still here. He stops the recording. Outside his window, the sun is setting. The street is silent. But somewhere, maybe in a grocery store, maybe in a bedroom, maybe in a place he'll never see, a child is humming. And that's enough. For now, that's enough. Welcome to TomorrowLore, where we explore the edges of possibility and remember what it means to be human.